Hello, everyone. It is week 9. The contests are back on Underdog. $40,000 to first place in the main battle royale, still $7. They flattened the payout structure a little bit. They doubled the min cash rate, and boy, are we good at min cashing. We actually had some good results last week. One of the viewers of the video, actually 2 viewers of the video, tied for 5th place in the main battle royale. Some other listeners and viewers of the channel had some good results. I had a couple good teams in the week 8 main battle royale. I think we are trending in the right direction. And there are definitely some early skeleton keys to be had in fantasy football this week. So let's get into it and let's ship battle royale in week 9. It's short king summer, dude. It just feels like no one in fantasy sports ever learns anything. Does he mistime it, or is Brock Bowers just a grown man? Brock Bowers is just a grown man. Dare I say, Rich, football might be back. In the words of Lane Johnson, this offense looks constipated. It's short king summer. All right, boys, we are officially back. There is no Swolecast this week, so if you normally are watching the Swolecast, well, welcome on in to the channel. This is probably going to be a more useful show than the Swolecast normally is. What we do here is we take a look at the Battle Royale, which is the big contest on Underdog. The payout structure a little bit different this week over on Underdog. Only 48,156 entrants this week. $40,000 to first place, but they flatten the payout structure a little bit. The min cash now $14, so you're doubling your money. Once you get up into the top 100, you're only getting $250 this week. You get up to 75th, and you get up to $500. There will be, I promise you, there will be news on the Swolecast coming soon. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for news about the Swolecast. I don't believe that it is going to be abandoning us forever, but stay tuned. Stay tuned for what is going to be happening with the Swolecast. Let's take a look at some of the results from last week in the main BR. Don't look at my NBA results. They're not that good. The Sunday main slate, $870 back in the main Battle Royale. This T5 team here, A-Rod 25 and Jason 3344. They are 2 viewers of the channel. They drafted a pretty sick team that ended up tying. So it would have started out Jalen Hurts, Joe Mixon, Devin Achane, AJ Brown, and it would have been T. Higgins with K. Dotton at tight end. Both of them intelligently set their swap rankings to get Marvin Harrison Jr. in there. So shout out to A-Rod, who is in the Discord. Actually, he's a member of the YouTube channel, much like Josh. He is a member of the YouTube channel. We enjoy him greatly. This was my best team. So my best team was Jalen Hurts, Devin Achane, Jonathan Taylor, Jamar Chase, AJ Brown, and Kyle Pitts. Needed really just kind of anything more from Jamar Chase and AJ Brown. I think that team was pretty live for a shipper. Weirdly, a lot of my best teams had a lot of different guys at tight end because everyone was so good at tight end. The overall winning team in BR last week, Jalen Hurts, Joe Mixon, Devin Achane, Jamar Chase, and it was Devonta Smith over AJ Brown. That was really the key last week. I felt good about what we put on. I felt good about what we put in last week, and there were no bye weeks last week. It was a huge slate, but we have another very big slate, and we're going to go ahead and hop in right now. There are loads of opportunities this week. I think this is a great week, actually, to be drafting early. By the way, tell me if my microphone sounds off. I think it's okay, but as I said in the last video, experimenting with a new microphone here, and I don't have it all perfected. So in terms of the Q guys early in the week, we actually don't have much. I expect all of the quarterbacks to play. Jayden Daniels ended up being a big one last week. I suppose one of the biggest questions is Jordan Love. Jordan Love is normally a top 5 or 6 quarterback draft in these, and it actually is a great matchup. I do wonder if that is potentially an early week edge is taking a little bit of Jordan Love. And then if Jordan Love doesn't play, you just end up on a lot of those teams swapping to Bo Nix, swapping to Kyler. There's a lot of different ways. And in fact, you could even use Jordan Love as a placeholder for parlay teams. That's something we don't talk about a ton. But there is some value in having totally uncorrelated teams because more of the pool is correlating than not. Like, in fact, let's just, after I make this first pick, let's pull up some of the combos from last week. I'm not going to take Alvin Kamara first overall. Maybe he will settle there, but I'm actually going to take CeeDee Lamb first overall. And this one going to be mixing that up a little bit. So just for example, from last week, let's look at AJ Brown. So AJ Brown was drafted in week 8, 100% on every single team. How many of those had Jalen Hurts? Of the 7,845, we had almost over 40% of them had Jalen Hurts with them. Jalen Hurts naked, obviously, or actually Jalen Hurts. So the Jalen Hurts was 94% drafted. So without AJ Brown, without Barkley, without Devonta Smith, and without Grant Calcaterra, only 32% is, that's probably, I bet that's actually probably pretty close to what you would have seen. It's probably pretty close to what you would have seen in the optimal rates from Nerdy Tenor. I think it probably would be pretty close. Honestly, I don't know if Carr being back matters that much. I feel like either way in this game against the Panthers, Alvin Kamara he's going to get 19 rushes. He is going to get 6 targets, and he is going to be one of the best plays of the slate. Let's do a different combo. Let's check Kyler Murray without Marvin Harrison Jr. or without Trey McBride. There were 245 naked Kyler teams. I mean, think about the ways in which Kyler Murray scores points. It's a little bit silly for him to be on 245 teams when he was drafted 14% of the time. So very, very limited number of naked Kyler teams. I think to bring it back to my original point, Jordan Love as a questionable guy, that guy can become naked Kyler, which you could tell me is pretty strong. By the way, a big reason why I did just pass on the running backs there. Running back again, very deep, very strong this week. Henry, Bijan, Gibbs, Walker, A-Chain, Cook, Swift, Montgomery. I mean, look how deep running back goes. And we actually are going to take Bijan on this team. This is a little bit combinatorially unique. And then we are going to tap the button on Cooper Kupp. So that should be a little bit combo unique there as well. Sets us up to either take Dak or a naked quarterback or stack with our tight end. I'm kind of a never Stafford guy in these formats. I know this analysis is it's well worn at this point, but I do think that Stafford is just not so much a winning pick in these formats. Take that for what you will. But I'm not big on Stafford in these formats. I am very big on that game, though. I don't know if you guys noticed on the thumbnail, the background of the thumbnail, the stadium in the background, SoFi Stadium. There's a little bit of Easter egg for you. So something that we got deep into with Ryan last week was caring a lot about combinatorial exposures. And I was kind of thinking about, of course the audio is messed up now. It always does. Anytime I ever do anything. There we go. It should be fixed now. I think I did it right. I think it is no longer on my AirPods. You guys are gonna have to tell me if I fix my microphone, but I'm pretty sure it just messed up for it always does for 1 second when I change the audio. Not a professional yet, not a professional YouTuber yet. Okay, need to make these picks here. I do kind of like taking Kyle Pitts with I do. That is not why, but that is a good bit. All right. We need to take... What do we need here? A second running back, probably. Let's do DeAndre Swift against that miserable Arizona Cardinals defense. And let's take a tight end that sets us up with optionality at quarterback. Or quarterback that sets us up with optionality at tight end. I guess let's just do Dak. Let's just be boring. Let's just take Dak with CeeDee. That combo is going to be way over. Combo's going to be way overrepresented, but that's okay. So back to the combinatorial thing. Something that Brian pointed out when we did the Sim Show last week, which, by the way, the Sim Show is going to be on Wednesday afternoon this week and not on Thursday morning because Mr. Nerdy Tenor is traveling. So that means that we are moving things around. So be there for tomorrow for Wednesday afternoon for the Sim Show. But something I'm consciously trying to avoid, I don't care so much about the overrepresented combos of stacking, but the uncorrelated examples. So basically the guys who are going at the 1-2 turn, guys who are going at the 3-4 turn, pick 1 and pick 12 would be an example of things that I am trying to actively avoid. The uncorrelated examples, I really am trying to actively avoid. Because that doesn't help you out any, and it just here's an example from last week. Brock Bowers and Derrick Henry were on 28% of teams together, but Brock Bowers and Kelsey were on 12% of teams together. So that is an example of a spot that I am actively trying to avoid, because sure, maybe you want a little bit of Bowers and Kelsey, but you don't want to be doing what 28% of the field is doing, or 28% of drafts. No Swolecast this week. I believe that we will be back on the saddle next week. And yeah, there we go. Ryan, can't believe Tracy outscored Neighbors. Yeah, I finally did run. I finally did run a little bit hot in FFPC main event something. So what causes these correlations is just where players go in ADP. Let's take Evan Engram, who I think is a really good play. Yeah, but what causes those correlations, Peter, is just where guys go in average draft position. Let's pull up another draft and I will show you exactly what it does. By the way, I've not piled in too many of these early. So great example of this would be Kyron Williams and Tyreek Hill are going to be on a lot of teams together this week, but even more so, you're going to see Alvin Kamara and Amon-Ra St. Brown on a lot of teams together, not because they're correlated in any way, but just because of how they're ordered in average draft position. Wow, we got the 101 again. Let's take Chase this time. I took Lamb last time. So let's take Chase this time. Yeah, so I not that you don't want any of those combinations or that they're bad, but they're definitely getting overdrafted by, the 48,000 people who are entering these fields just because of how they happen to fall in average draft position. So I was giving Brian, buddy, you think this is clickbait? You're not even close. Go look at some of the other titles on the channel. I can't believe how embarrassing this is for you, Adam. You think this is more of a hack than top secret computer solves fantasy football? That seems more hacky. Easy wins on Underdog in week 8 using a computer to solve fantasy football for good. You gotta learn ball, bro. Or I guess not learn ball. You gotta learn tube, brother. You gotta learn tube. I don't think that this is the first look show. I don't think this is the way I understand it, I believe that we are going to be back with the Swolecast next week. That is my understanding of the situation, but don't quote me. Swolecast YouTube and the RSS feed is going directly to Live a Little LLC. So David is now the sole proprietor of the Swolecast. Yeah, total solo pod coming soon. No, this is actually not true. All caps not gonna stick out, Adam. You only want 1 or 2 words in caps. You gotta learn YouTube, brother. Well, I really hope that I'm able to get Puka Nacua here. I'll give that away. Not give it away. I mean, that's literally what we're doing. That's what we're doing on the show here. These are the hacks to win on Underdog in week 9. Puka Nacua is right now in the early week my favorite selection of the week, and this guy's going to auto draft him. Yeah, of course, that's always how it goes. All right, let's do Jahmyr Gibbs, because again, we're trying to avoid some of that over combinatorial stuff. Let's do Gibbs, and let's set up Bowers as the Cincinnati Bengals bring back. So Puka Nacua came back last week. He only ran 61% of the routes. He had a 40% targets per route run. Unbelievable. Looked incredible. I think that was like the biggest thing, was he just looked 100% back. And what's happening right now in ADP is it's kind of getting middled. Puka as the wide receiver 5, Cooper Kupp as the wide receiver 9 against that Seahawks secondary. I think what will rightfully happen, Kyron's going to come up a little bit in ADP. Puka's going to come up a little bit in ADP, and Kupp is going to go down a little bit in ADP. I think all of that is directionally accurate, but I'm trying to get ahead of this team on Mr. Nacua. And probably, honestly, like, it's really not going to surprise me if Kyron is the 101 this week. If Metcalf gets ruled out and we just are in tune for another Seahawks drubbing, don't you guys just feel like Kyron probably is the 101? But if you're drafting on Tuesday, you're drafting on Wednesday, I think now is the time to get in on Mr. Nacua, because I'll give you a little hint when Peter does his video on Friday, his big video on Friday, Puka Nacua is probably going to be on it. Colby Parkinson revenge game. I will not have any Colby Parkinson. I will not be clicking Colby Parkinson once this week, but you got to do what you got to do. All right, on this team, I think we certainly want Burrow. I mean, and I could try and push it to the 6th round, but I also don't really care. Now, I also still like Cooper Kupp quite a bit. Like, I'm certainly by no means out on Cooper Kupp this week. The shower narrative, the breakfast narrative, it's pretty. I mean, I think Puka had 1 more fantasy point last week in half PPR than Kupp, and this guy's gonna auto draft Kupp anyways. All right, let's take Burrow to go with Chase, and now let's scroll a little bit at wide receiver. Jayden Reed, pretty intriguing. He really has not been used. Lad McConkey is pretty intriguing as like an undrafted guy. So it'll be interesting to see where projections land on all this. I'm going to take Jayden Reed. Reed, a pretty interesting case where, 16.7% is average advance rate. Divide 12 by 2, brother. Divide 12 by 2. Okay. So Reed, very interesting. every week that he's been healthy and Love has been healthy, he's been a top 10 wide receiver pick. I believe he was one of the biggest risers last week in ADP from when it opened to when it ended. But now nobody wants him. Now no one, well, and why? Why does no one want Jayden Reed? Well, no one wants Jayden Reed because he's getting used as this pure screen. Oh, I gotta log in. Pretty interesting stuff over here on Fantasy Life. By the way, I do really like these. It's the stuff that's available on PFF, but it's just filtered all there for you. Wix's routes. So Watson ran 23 routes. Wix only ran 9 routes this last week. Sort of it was I was not anticipating that. I basically was expecting that to kind of be a split all year long. True. Your Eagles did not look constipated. That was big. I agree. That was one of the biggest outcomes from last week. I wrote about that in the MMQB TLDR, that if you were subscribed to patreon.com/DavisMattic, you get to read that every Monday. All right, Green Bay Packers wide receivers. So Jayden Reed down to 67% of the routes in week 8. Targets per route run below his season average. His targets per route run each of the last 2 weeks has been pretty brutal. His ADOT has gone back up, and his air yard share has gone up. His utilization score, though, look at this. So utilization score, I mean, he's worst of the season, 3.8. I guess week 2 with Malik Willis was worse, and it's been a while since he has quote unquote gotten there. Yeah, this also happens. Kraft just gets there every single week on 4 targets, but I am preparing myself to take another pretty big stance on Jayden Reed, just because we know, I mean, let's just be real about it. A lot of your BR entries they're just going to lose anyway. A lot of your BR entries are just going to lose. And when I'm looking at these wide receivers that I'm taking in my final, like Darnell Mooney, he's having a good season. Not trying to take anything away from Darnell Mooney. Obviously does not have anything close to the ceiling that Jayden Reed does. Jayden Reed has already finished as the number 1 overall wide receiver in point PPR in 0.5 twice. Yes, I did see the Jermaine Burton. That was my bags. My bags were celebrating. All right, we need a scroll running back here. I will give away some more of the secret alpha. But boys, if you are drafting on a Tuesday, if you were drafting on a Wednesday, if you were drafting on a Thursday, there is one running back that you need to make an extreme priority to be taking, and that is one Mr. Tony Pollard. I expect when ETR's ranks come out on Wednesday night, Thursday morning, Tony Pollard will be probably their running back 7 of the slate. It's actually a spot where the Titans are set up pretty well. They're not going to have that many spots where they're set up well. And his workload without Tajay Spears has been gargantuan. So the most recent 2 games without Spears, 80%, 88% of the snaps. 70% routes, 69% routes. 16% of targets, 11% of the targets. Targets per route run in the season, 19%. Weirdly, they haven't had any inside the 5 stuff. He's playing the long down and distance. He's playing the 2-minute drill. I'm in this. Let's just guess. Let's guess. Where do we think his utilization rate, his utilization score stands for the year? I'm going to guess he's top 10 at the entire running back position in utilization score. Yep, he's 9th. Better utilization score than Jonathan Taylor, than Aaron Jones, than DeAndre Swift, than Hubbard, than Dobbins, than Jacobs, than A-Chain, than Ramondre, than Hunt, than Gibbs. I mean, it really doesn't get any better than that. Obviously, you have some threat of Spears coming back and playing this week. He's not on IR, so theoretically he could come back and play whenever. Not that you are dead. Spears is of course not going to influence him that much. No update on him. Let's Let's do a quick little Google and see if we've gotten any updates on Tyjae Spears' hamstring injury. Let me sort for the past 24 hours. No, we got nothing. Got no update on Mr. Spears, which is the way I like it. Yeah, James Conner's stuff is going to rise a ton. I'm just like a little bit less interested in him, honestly, but Pollard is the secret sauce. So, Jaden Reed, Tony Pollard, Puka Nacua, that's your secret sauce early in these drafts. Don't say that I never did anything for you on this free YouTube show, because I did. I did do something for you on this free YouTube show. What about Ingram's ADP, positional ADP? Yeah. All right, well, whatever. Let's take Kamara this time. We'll take someone different every single time. Yeah, we can look at this stuff using the RotoViz Game Splits app. It is true. Ingram's ADP and positional ADP. Saw a tweet about him like always smashing without Kirk over the last year or two. Might have been Ian or someone. Yeah, we'll talk about Chuba Hubbard here in a second. The Ingram splits are pretty stark based on who else is available for the Jaguars. They always have been. I mean, just in general, he's a guy who is pretty sensitive to who else is on the field with him, because Ingram is not a great player. You know, he's a fine player. Evan Engram, in games without Christian Kirk in the last 2 seasons, of which there have been 5, he averages 2.5 more receptions. He averages like 0.48 more of a touchdown. That's massive. He averages over 3 more targets per game. And he averages, I mean, like an insane number of receiving yards more per game. Don't make me do that math. It's like 23 yards more, 22 yards more. So yeah, I think that is what was that, Ryan who mentioned that? Yeah. I think we definitely see that. So this right here is a bit of a trap. I think the Bijan and Kamara stuff, I think that's going to be a really, really high represented combo. We haven't done this yet on stream, so let's do a Lamar. No disrespect intended to Chess Liam and my friends. I think you certainly need to be prioritizing Lamar Jackson, even in this matchup. Even in this bad matchup. What is more combinatorially unique here? How'd you guys see that? Just in between drafts. The last draft to this draft, wide receiver 9, wide receiver 8 for Cooper Kupp, it just switched. Let's do neighbors on this one. Let's do neighbors. The difference with and without Kirk would be like tight end 12. Yeah, it's very funny. Neighbors, honestly, like I probably will be underweight on Malik Neighbors this week just because of the Daniel Jones experience. And the Commanders defense, they don't have very many good players, but they have a pretty freaking good scheme. They've really been limiting these offenses the last couple weeks. Sadly, Mr. Wool Hike Song knows ball, taking Achane earlier in the week. You know, it's Achane in Achane and half PPR. Do you guys know how many points per game Achane is averaging in games without Tua or with Tua? The answer is that he is scoring 23.06 points per game. He would be the number one scoring running back in fantasy football in games that he's played with Tua. He has a 19% target share. 19% target share in games that Tua has started. Do you think Brian Thomas plays? If he does, are you drafting him? I definitely would draft him if he plays. Probably at this stage of the week, I am avoiding him because I don't feel that it is particularly necessary. It is a pretty good matchup. He's called day-to-day by the coach. Although anytime I hear 2 to 4 weeks into day-to-day, man, that doesn't, it just, I'll say this, Mr. Tuna 62584, it just doesn't feel that cozy of a click. Because I'm like, well, I mean, I can just take Ladd McConkey. I can just take Cedric Tillman. I can take Jayden Reed. Like, Jayden Reed versus Brian Thomas, in a questionable sense, feels not that close to me. I'm going to take Zay Flowers here. Oh, Zay Flowers already got selected. You know what? Sure, I'll take Jahmyr Gibbs. I'll take Jahmyr Gibbs against Green Bay again. If Malik Willis starts that game, it just feels like Gibbs just keeps smashing. Like, Gibbs is no one really wants him in these formats. I've noticed no one really wants Jahmyr Gibbs in these. I don't really know why. I guess, the Montgomery thing, but man. Okay, our final selection is going to be a Baltimore tight end. So we need to take another interesting wide receiver. I wonder if T. Higgins is on the right side of questionable. But man, it is a freaking great matchup for T. Let's do T. So let's take some T early in the week. Every T. Higgins team either ends up being T. Higgins or, I mean, look at the scroll options we have. It's sometimes your T. Higgins team will be Marvin Harrison Jr., could be Jayden Reed. I mean, don't you imagine that when projections come out, isn't Jayden Reed going to be like the wide receiver 10? Like, who's going to project for more points, Chris Olave or Jayden Reed? I feel like it's going to be Jayden Reed. I feel like no chance does Olave hold there. Devonta Smith will fall too, I feel. So I think taking and you could do the same thing with Metcalf, although I'm less certain that Metcalf plays than Devonta, or less certain. In fact, if you made me bet, I would bet that Metcalf doesn't, and I would bet that T. Higgins does. It's kind of the season for the Bengals, right? If the Bengals lose this game, what is the Bengals record right now? So the Bengals lose this game, it's probably over. But I believe the Bengals still have 2 games left against the Steelers. I'm almost certain that's right. Yeah, the Bengals play the Steelers on December 1st, and then they play them again the final week of the season. And so the Bengals get the Raiders, so they'll go to 4-5. They're going to lose that game. They're going to lose that game to the Ravens. I do need to make my final selection here. Shocker. You know what? I'm actually going to take Likely. Because I'll probably take Andrews later in the week, and I will show you guys an example of why I take Likely. Last week, Lamar was on the slate. He was drafted 100% of the time. He was drafted, how many times was Zay Flowers? He was drafted 16% of the time with Zay Flowers. He was drafted 976 times, 12% of the time with Mark Andrews. And how many times was he drafted with Likely? There were 58 teams, and one of them was mine. There were 58 total teams in the whole pool that had Isaiah Likely. 58 teams in the pool. Not that I'm not going to have any Mark Andrews, because obviously I definitely will. But again, let's come back to the utilization stuff. For the season, Likely has more routes, more targets per route run, same amount of air yards, double him up on end zone targets, more play action targets, higher utilization score. Now, obviously, Andrews has ran the touchdowns. And again, this is not to say that I won't be clicking Mark Andrews at all. But I want to have, again, if there are 58 teams that have Likely, I mean, it does feel, and how many of them were me? 58 teams with Likely, and 2 of them were mine. So I had like 3.5% of the total pool of Lamar Likely teams. That is a great example of how to get unique without giving up too much in projection, because Likely and Andrews are going to project pretty similarly. Again, not saying that I am this revolutionary or anything, but you know that how many Andrews teams that I had 6 Andrews teams. Let's remove it. So 58 teams versus 976 teams. Just feels very combinatorially unique for guys who are this close. Likely and Andrews, they are so close together. All right. Back at it. Fun little NBA slate tonight, by the way. The draft pick odds have been pretty kind to us. We've been getting very good draft picks in these. Not that the turn is bad this week. In fact, the turn is kind of nice this week. I will take under 1,000 combos in a 48K contest. You have 4 other picks to set. Yeah, I mean, also, like, there is totally an argument that you don't need to be, yeah, I'm not that good at it yet, but I'm trying to learn, John. I'm trying to learn. I think we are going to be doing some NBA videos on the channel, if that's something that you guys are interested in. There's some new Unabated has some very cool new tools that should be helping out with all this stuff. Sorry, I have to message Mr. Wiggins back. Who do I like in NBA tonight? All the Warriors backups. I like Trace Jackson Davis. I like Buddy Hield. I like Jonathan Kuminga. I like Podziemski. Podziemski's probably my favorite. Podziemski, actually, certainly he is. He is my favorite. All right, let's get it going here with draft number 4. We are smoking through these. We got pick 4 in this one. So this one, we're going to start with a running back. I'm going to take Kyren here. No Swolecast this week, brother. No Swolecast this week. We will see. I think the Swolecast is going to be back this week. But we will find out. All right. Bang. Well, actually, I said I was going to take Kyren. I'm taking Alvin Kamara. Does not get better than a matchup against the Carolina Panthers. 40 points for the Denver Broncos against Carolina Panthers. And the Kamara usage has been insanely bullish. The offense has just been so bad. They might be getting Carr back this week. I wonder what ends up happening there. If I made a public comment on the loss of the greats, I'm going to miss him. Doing ADP chasing with Sam is one of the pleasures of my week. Sam was one of my most frequent guests in the off season on this channel when I was doing all the best ball drafts. I really enjoyed drafting with him. But Mr. Sherman is going back to the corporate world, leaving us workaday fantasy football touts. In the end, you know, what can you do, man? What can you do? There's only so much. Yeah, if Carr is active, does Kamara just stay the 101? Let's see if I can pull up any projections yet. Let's see. I think RG Basic is up. The first look projections. Instead of the first look show, we can look at, but I think Kamara probably will just be the 101. Right now on RG, CeeDee is, well, this is DraftKings scoring. So let me move it over to FanDuel since it's closer. The 5th round rookie from BYU, all-time moment. In 0.5 PPR scoring, the defense agnostic blitz stuff still has CeeDee 1, Kamara 2, but man, The edge against the Panthers is pretty large. All right. You know what? Let's do Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith. Trying to cover my comp. Yeah, the five. Well, people forget the 5 Colts tight end graphic. Yeah, no, this is what I heard. Sherman is leaving the fantasy football industry because he got so publicly owned about not drafting Eric All. All right. I'm just going to take Devonta Smith with the next pick. Although, again, this will really show us something. Jalen Hurts was drafted 94% of the time. Man. And if you just avoided AJ Brown or Devonta Smith, you got so many more unique combos. It's really unbelievable. All right, we're going to take Devonta, and then we're going to take Evan Engram, and then we are going to select a running back. We're going to do the vaunted bring back. Don't always want to be doing bring backs, but sometimes it just feels cozy, you know? Sometimes it just feels cozy. I think where I am landing for the 101, I think we've been doing some of these. It does feel to me like probably CeeDee is the 101. Doesn't that feel like that game has just a chance to go insanely nuclear? Kind of I don't know. Is it already a must-win spot for the Dallas Cowboys? It kind of feels like it is. You blow this game, and you're just kind of done for the year. Really, really not ideal. I saw a crazy stat. The Dallas Cowboys have been trailing on, I believe, 38% of their snaps. Reeves tweeted it. It was either 31 or 38% of their snaps. The only team who's been trailing for a greater percentage of their snaps than the Dallas Cowboys, the Carolina Panthers. That's it. Every week. I mean, every week. Every single week. You look at running back and you're like, shit, I'll play James Conner. I'll play Chase Brown. I'll play Chuba Hubbard. I'll play Ramondre against Tennessee. I'll play Javonte. Funny that Trey Benson is randomly running back 21. I would maybe play Tank Bigsby, but then you look at wide receiver and you're like, fuck Cortland Sutton, Jalen Waddle, no chance. Yeah, not ideal to have a freshly paid $60 million quarterback and be out of the mix. Yeah, it does feel sort of like a must-win game. I probably will not be drafting any Kupp and Puka together, but again, it is one of those things that ends up being so unique. No one does it. We got Devonta, and now let's select Evan Engram, and then we're going to take Tony Pollard again on this team. Hope I don't get sniped. All right, who would be a good example of this from last week? AJ Brown and Devonta Smith were together on 129 teams. Tony Pollard again. I'm just going to keep hammering it. Hurts, Kamara, Pollard, Tyreek Hill, Devonta Smith. Actually, here, this is probably a better combo. Tyreek Hill and A-Chain would be a good example of this. Shit, they work together a lot. Wow. I don't know about you guys, but I am stunned by that, to see them together on so many teams. I would not have anticipated that at all. Wow. I wonder if a lot of those were drafted earlier in the week when A-Chain was sort of like a 6th round pick. Dell and Diggs, that's probably a better one. Dell and Diggs. 274. Yeah. No, yeah. No, I mean, A-Chain is different. It's the 2 wide receiver stuff. My brain is not really working for what would have been the double stack last week. No, it's true. How owned was Javonte last week? Some of the scrolls last week. Javonte was drafted a lot. 2,945 teams. Here, you want to see a funny one? James Cook, who smashed, was on 434 teams. How many Gibbs Montgomery were drafted? That's a good question. Probably not very many. Gibbs Montgomery, 28 teams. 28 teams. Some good teams, too. Some teams that cashed. Wow, look at this super onslaught. A.J. Brown, St. Brown, Gibbs, Montgomery. But basically, I think the A-Chain Hill was kind of a very specific case. We don't see that stuff happen all that often. Let's get back in these streets. Man, very fun week. Very fun week, in my opinion, in the BR streets. Been getting a lot of good picks. I think I'm gonna end up with like a pretty hard fade on Derrick Henry here. Not that I'll have zero of him, but I definitely prefer Kamara. I definitely prefer Barkley. So I guess the question is, that is interesting. Last week, Bijan and London were drafted 777 times together. How many times were Bijan and Pitts drafted together? 192 times. I did all right last week. I had a team finish 64th. So I don't know how much. What is it? What is 7 times 150? So I lost like $90 last week. I'll take losing $90. I'll take losing $90. Needed one of the really what I needed was one of the tush push touchdowns to be an AJ Brown touchdown. Then we could have been cooking a little bit. It's just feels kind of hard to play Henry. It's not doesn't really feel like that good of a matchup. Yeah, the A-Chain Mostert duo almost got there together last week. That's true. Let's see what pick we got here. Oh, okay. All right, we got a turn pick, so maybe I'll get put to the test to see if I'll really fade Henry. I mean, I probably won't have a ton of Henry relative to what the field is going to have. What else is new? You know what? It is sad. It is sad that they still have Saquon, although maybe not that sad for me personally. You know, because I don't have any Barkley, so maybe not that bad for me, but it's definitely sad for him. Feels very hard to come away from this week without a shit ton of Tyreek Hill. He's still Tyreek Hill. You know, he's got a 90-yard touchdown in him any given week. And you are really like, who are you fading? Who are you fading who's got a higher ceiling? I guess you're fading Henry against the Broncos. AJ Brown is like probably a better bet to get 21 points. Hey man, I am also a non-Henry, non-Barkley bro. I got like none. I'm advancing like 9 teams. No Swolecast today, Andrew. I believe we will. Of course, I can't. You know what? Let's own the libs. Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, they can't hurt me. The best ball advance rate bros, if those guys get 40 each this week, they can't hurt me because it will mean I have a very good Battle Royale team, or several very good Battle Royale teams. That is an extremely alpha play. And by alpha, I mean I'm definitely setting myself up to get owned. To be honest, even clicking them in Battle Royale feels bad. It doesn't even feel good to be clicking those guys in BR. But that is such a secret little thing about Battle Royale, is it does make it, man, doesn't it just make it so easy to be like, well, yeah, my best ball teams are dead, but I can totally get even with Barkley on the dog app in these drafts, which is like kind of fun. Honestly, I do enjoy it. Biggest difference in my fantasy experience has been, I think these BRs have totally changed the way that I view fantasy football. It's totally changed the way that I experience Sundays. It's just changed my whole process. It's really changed how I think about fantasy sports in general. I think it's made me better. I think it's made me better at salary cap DFS too, in a weird way. Like I don't know. There's just so much to think about that I really have been enjoying it. Yeah, thank God the Colts are not on the main slate. Thank God, honestly. I don't want to deal with all that. All right. So you can't look a gift horse in the mouth here. You have to take St. Brown. But then what we do after that, this is probably a good team to take London. And then we can do St. Brown, and then we can do London. And so we could do Kirk double stack. We could do, who are some of the backdoor quarterback tight end stacks? That's always, by the way, this is like a hack to be thinking about while you're drafting. So let's say you do start a draft this way, where you've started two running backs, 2 wide receivers, and you want to be finishing it out, finding some pairings like this. So, and ones that are, you could do Dak Ferguson, you could do Goff Laporta, you could do Lovecraft with the ability to swap. I don't think Dallas Goedert is going to play. You could do Cole Kmet and Caleb Williams, not that you would really want to. They're kind of thin this week. It's kind of thin, but I do think the thing about doing McBride and Murray is you're not always going to have that one available. You know, at pick 30, you're not always going to have McBride there, although he should be there a good amount. You definitely could do Lawrence and Engram. But I do think that some of these are under-owned by the field. Like, I don't know, from last week. Let's look at Love and Kraft. Love and Kraft were owned on 840 teams together. Cousins and Pitts that you could have done in the last round, they were owned on 111 teams together. Doesn't that feel crazy low? Holy shit, 111 teams? That feels insanely low to me, personally. Do you think the field's not going to do that again? Or I guess Pitts was just not drafted all that often. Pitts was only drafted 14% of the time, and Cousins was only drafted 630. Cousins, how many of those were me last week? We have 4. I really liked him. Oh, well, we get it anyways. So we get the one that I said wasn't even going to be there. I didn't even think it was going to be there. I mean, this honestly might not even be the best one. You might argue that Kirk and Engram is better, but I am going to do this. I'm going to do McBride, and then I'm going to do Kyler. We'll probably be a little bit over-owned, to be honest. That'll be something to test. But I do just like the ability to do that. That Bears defense is very good. Yeah, Pitts was super free last week. We'll probably never see that again. I don't know. On this team, you could definitely have argued that Cousins and Ferguson, Cousins and Andrews, Cousins and Laporta, I guess not Laporta, Cousins and Kincaid, you could have argued that any of those would have been better. I don't know if I would have argued it, but you could. But I do like that start. Brother, how can you not love London after what we just saw the Dallas Cowboys do? Yeah, I gotta get the picks I like before Mr. Tenor influences my brain too much. And we get I get to take locked. Oh, we get the turn pick again. All right, guys, this is gonna be the last one probably. Still need to finish up doing my waiver wire stuff for the week. Need to draft some NBA teams. If you guys want access to that waiver wire stuff, I should do a better job advertising. But you guys could check out patreon.com/DavisMattic. You get all my premium fantasy football stuff, my DFS column, my notes on all the games. You know, I take notes on all the games and then publish them on Monday morning. I do my rest of season analysis. I do my weekly ranks, all my stuff over on patreon.com/DavisMattic. All my dynasty stuff this offseason will be there, prospect profiles, rankings, all that stuff. And I would encourage you to support that, or encourage you to become a member to the channel. Haven't really been talking about that stuff either. But if you guys like to talk BR, you guys like to talk fantasy football, you want to hang out with like-minded individuals, the Davis Mattic YouTube channel, Take Cast, Discord, good place to be, fun place. Chat a lot of ball in there. We draft a bunch of BRs together. It's been a good time. It's been a real pleasure. And I hope to see many more of you. Yeah, there we go. Or do both. Clay enjoys the Discord. Clay's a good man. All right, we won't be able to do the Giga Alpha stack. Spoiler alert. Mega spoil. Oh. How about this start? Does it get much better than a Puka Tyreek start? You need to either sign up for patreon.com/DavisMattic or become a member of the YouTube channel. It is not a free Discord. It is one of the ways in which I am supporting myself and keeping myself alive. As in being a fantasy football YouTuber is my job. And believe it or not, it's not a job that not a lot of people are they're just not falling over to give you money. So you got to work pretty hard in these streets. So I would encourage you to become a member or to sign up for the Patreon. It is $5 a month to become a member of the YouTube channel. Yeah. You guys want to keep my puppy alive? You like my beautiful golden retriever puppy? Yeah, I'm not in control of the ads, by the way. I do get this comment a lot. I am not in control of the ads on the channel. You know, the ads are they're predetermined. So whatever ad you see on this YouTube channel, I got nothing to do with. But yes, every time you sign up to become a YouTube member, or every time you sign up for my Patreon, you are keeping my dog alive. So again, a very fascinating spot. We don't have a quarterback on this team. I'm actually going to take James Cook instead of Gibbs. I don't want to set myself up in a position to be way overweight on. Yes. So you get to be, if you sign up for the YouTube membership, you are automatically in the Discord. That's how it works. James Cook. You know what? This is going to be a bad team. but I'm going to take David Njoku, and I'm going to set up a Jameis team here. You don't see that, everyone. Some corporate shakeup at Roto Grinders is why there's no Swolecast. There you go. It's not about keeping me alive. It is about keeping my puppy alive. My puppy. Well, you know what? I'll bring the puppy down on one of the Friday streams. Wow. Mr. Roto-Run himself, Mr. Badge Brother. What a good man. Make sure to sub and check out. In fact, you know what, John? Let me see if I will actually do this right now. I will redirect this video to the Badge Bros later today. You gotta, John, add me, give me permission, and I will redirect this video to the Badge Bros. You have to give me permission to do it on your YouTube page, but I'll redirect to the Badge Brothers today. There we go. Another positive review. David is a good contributing member of the Discord. I'm going to message John on Discord right now. If I can figure it out, John, you can figure it out. All right, I said I was going to do it, and I am going to do it. Jameis Winston against the Chargers. Now, who do we do as our... Oh, well, I'm just going to do Pollard. Actually, I'm going to do Brian Robinson Jr. It worked on someone. Mr. Lazaro writes, welcome. I knew it would. Once you bring up the dog, yeah, the prize is you get to redeposit. You know what? I lied, guys. I'm going to do another one. They thought they could keep me out. They were wrong. I do think Jameis Njoku is a little sneaky, honestly. Jameis, why can't Jameis score more fantasy points than Jared Goff? Why can't Jameis score more fantasy points than Jordan Love, who's the quarterback 4 every single week? Honestly, what would possibly be the reasoning? So this is a good question, but I believe in the bottom left corner of your mobile apparatus, there should be... Okay, this is how it looks. On my... Here's some Inception. But this button right here, this join button right next to the logo, how do you guys like that? Seeing the stream inside of the stream? Is that tripping you guys out? But there you go. You click this join button right here. That's how it's done. I don't know. I think you can do it on mobile, but again, I'm not certain. We got the 104 this week. That's so true. 300-yard passers are not that common. All right, we've got draft number 7. We're really knocking them out. We got the 104. I'm gonna take Kyron this time. Ideally, I'd have like 13% of all these guys, of Kamara, of Barkley. Again, I will probably have a little bit less Henry. I'm gonna take, well, Barkley. versus here. What is my friend Mr. Cardi's defense agnostic projections have? He's got Kamara clearly number 1. He's got Kyron way ahead though. Whatever. I'm taking Barkley. It might not be. It might not be Corey. And you know what? I forgive you. I do forgive you. Corey Brewer, by the way. I am assuming that your name is not actually Corey Brewer and that it is a reference to the most random 50-point scorer in the history of the modern NBA. Corey Brewer. It's the only thing I can think of. And by the way, Corey Brewer, I mean, not that you guys really care about this, but I did play Corey Brewer. I did play Corey Brewer in NBA DFS the night that he scored 50 real points. Corey Brewer, most random guy to have ever scored 50 points in an NBA game, I think. Wow. Saquon Barkley and Tyreek Hill. Boys, we are cooking. We are absolutely cooking. Back-to-back NCAA champ, of course. So I guess on mobile it doesn't have join. What can you do? That's probably an iOS thing. It's probably like Apple like charges them extra. Yeah, that's a super GM right there. Wow. Corey Brewer. See, all I had to do. All I had to do was talk about my dog. Yeah, it is an iOS thing. That's what I thought. Is it better to draft at the end of the week? Well, it depends, sir, on what you think your skills are. I think I'm honestly probably a little bit better at drafting early in the week. Let's set this up. I don't really like St. Brown here. I'm going to take... You know what? No, let's do Daniels, and let's set this up to maybe be a McLaurin team. That was an unbelievable game. Corey, you're a real one, man. I appreciate all of you. Like, truly, seriously, every person who watches these videos, becomes a member, who signs up for the Patreon. Honestly, really, like, sort of unbelievable how much I value all of that. Like, logging into my Discord in the morning and seeing people like chatting about football brings unbelievable joy to me. It really does. Hey man, Brandon Jennings was pretty good. What was early in the week? Is it better to draft early in the week or later in the week? So what you're doing early in the week is you are essentially saying these are what the projections are going to be. We have a Jayden Terry. So drafting early in the week, you're saying Tony Pollard is going to project better than Brian Robinson, better than Jacobs, better than Montgomery, better than Swift, which, by the way, he will. And then when you are drafting on Friday, when you're drafting on Saturday, you're saying, actually, Chris Olave shouldn't be projecting this well. He's actually being over. Someone said this actually in the Badge Bros Discord. They said, what was the right way to say it? It's drafting on Wednesday is projecting what Michael Leone had established the run is going to think. And then drafting on Friday and Saturday is telling Leone where he's wrong. And that kind of aligns with what I think as well. Yeah. Late week is definitely for the nerds. I don't auto draft at all. I do not auto draft NFL at all. I auto draft NBA a little bit. I am far from understanding what is good or bad or what you should be doing in NBA, but that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at right now. I wonder last week, by the way, how much Jayden Daniels and Terry there was because Daniels was so low drafted. Let's do, you know what, on this team? I don't want to take Jacobs. Let's do Jimmy Connor. No, let's get tight end out of the way. We can scroll later. Let's do Jake Ferguson. he'll be much less drafted. Was in the middle of looking up combos. So Jayden Daniels last week only ended up being drafted 1,600 times. Let's look the week before. Okay, Jayden Daniels and Terry the week before, 2,982 teams. How many was McLaurin on alone? So a fair few number. Yeah, I agree. I agree with this. I mean, I have some NBA player takes. Definitely wouldn't call myself an NBA GOAT. Or yeah, it was the Daniels Q take last week. But NBA is a totally different game than this. You know, you're not really gonna beat the projections in NBA. In NFL, you can definitely beat the projections. You know what? I'm just gonna do it again. I'm taking TP again. They can't stop me. In the words of Lil Wayne, they can't stop me, even if they stopped me. You know what? We're vibing. Hunter, a beautiful man. A beautiful man. Hunter, I appreciate you. Hunter, you've been around a long time, brother. You are when Hunter signed up for the YouTube channel, I was like, wow. I recognized that name from Twitter for a long time. All right. John, if you are still watching, I'm about to add you in to be live redirected. What is the name of the Badge Bros video today? We're about to hook the Badge Bros up. These videos, Clay, I promise I will at some point. It's not going to happen today. These videos actually do all right on secondary. And if they're doing all right on secondary, I don't want to toss any NBA in. You know, because someone might watch this on Thursday, basically. And I don't want to confuse them. But we will. Trying to figure out how to help my friends, the Badge Brothers, out so I can redirect to their video. I'm not honestly, guys. I'm not always the best. But yeah, you got to keep it pure. If someone is searching for Underdog Daily NFL, I want them to find Underdog Daily NFL. But we will be doing NBA drafts on the channel with the new unabated tools, which I think my Badge friends are doing as well. Gonna smash some Kyron there. Kyron over Henry. That is where I'm at. And I said he was the Skelly key, and I believe it. I think that Puka and AJ Brown are gonna flip in ADP. I feel pretty confident about that. It's just so hard. Like, Puka just looks so good. And the Eagles offense, I know the Eagles offense got unconstipated a bit, but my word, Puka looked like he should have been the 101. You know what I mean? And I'll have plenty of opportunities. To figure that out. I don't think I can figure out how to do this redirect, but I will eventually. And boy, when I do figure out the redirect powers, yeah, no one can look constipated versus the Bengals defense. Although, can anyone look constipated against the Jaguars defense? Also, You guys are idiots for not stopping me. I just took Kyron and Puka together, which I definitely did not intend to do. Well, I did it once last week on the First Look show. I took Devontae Adams. I took Devontae Adams and Breece Hall together. I will not be drafting any Stafford. I mean, I would rather do Kyler Murray naked. I would rather do Bo Nix. I'd rather do... There's not really a running quarterback this week. I guess the best runner would be Daniel Jones naked. Yes. Yeah, if you guys are in Pete's Discord, if you guys are in the Deposit Kingdom, in the lieu of the Swolecast getting canceled, Clay had ChatGPT writing over Zet's overview, and it was very good stuff. Well, you know what? This is what we're going to do. That's how we're going to do it. Is we're going to take Lamar Jackson, and we're going to say he runs for 3 touchdowns. And then we are going to take... we need to take an interesting... Well, let's actually take... No, we don't want Lamar running. Let's do... Let's do DeAndre Swift. Sure, why not? Kind of just flying by the seat of my pants there. Yeah, he definitely is, but how many? I don't know. How many yards does it come with? It's I don't know. It's hard for me to It's hard for me to figure that out, basically. Stafford just seems like, how many points did he have in that game where they looked incredible? Like they didn't really seem to look like, I don't think Stafford got a ton of points. I don't really do bringbacks much, if at all, in I almost don't do any bringbacks in BR. I know I did one earlier, but you give up a lot of points in projection, and this is such a game of finding the nuts, if that makes sense. I'll probably take Kenneth Walker some. I took him a little bit. I was under the field on him last week. But I don't love it. I do not love it. Yeah, 24.76 is probably not going to get it done in BR. I guess it could. I mean, Hurts got 35 last week. And quarterbacks don't separate much. So you could argue for it. I probably wouldn't. But you definitely could argue for it. All right. Let's scroll a little bit here at wide receiver. Let's go back to Mr. Jayden Reed. And we need, you know what? I got a feeling Evan Engram might kind of be who you need this week. I obviously will not be alone in that feeling. He's going to be very popular. All right, well, whatever. Let's do another one. Why not? Also nice for me to knock these out on stream. I would much rather record these on stream than be doing them not working on my own time, if that makes sense. And we get the 1-3. It does sort of feel like a week where you do need a top 2 pick, because man, Chase and Lamb are big time. It could totally be an Olave week. 13 targets for Olave last week. He looked phenomenal. He really did. Well. Well, I hope people are enjoying this extra long video. Normally they're not this long, but we'll see. Maybe it'll do better on secondary as a longer video. But I still do. I think Lamb is the 101 too. That's where I've landed. Chase Puka, pretty gnarly. That's gonna be. I mean, that is why we draft early in the week. We draft early in the week. Well, normally I do these for an hour. Normally I've got a lot going on Tuesdays, but we're not doing the Swolecast, Zach. No Swolecast today. I don't really got any. I mean, I know I need to finish my waiver wire stuff, and I'm waiting to hear back from a couple guys about doing a take cast. I thought I had a take cast guest lined up. I don't have a take cast guest lined up. So we are simply vibing, Zach. We are simply vibing. And also normally my puppy will be crying upstairs after I've been down here for like 90 minutes or so. She's sleeping soundly right now. So we are chilling. There's no scenario. No, wow, CeeDee at 3. Let's go. Don't let me do Dak on this one. Make me do something else. I definitely do not want my I don't want my Dak CeeDee to be 1-to-1. But yeah, there's absolutely no scenario where Ashton G. I mean, who would he have to go to? Let's look at Tankathon. I'm trying to think of any place that he could go where he would not be the 101. I just did Mike, I just did CeeDee and Dak. I just did CeeDee and Dak. She's a golden retriever. She is a 4-month-old absolute sweetheart golden retriever. She's a very good dog. Wow, CeeDee Henry. How much money did someone call up Nerdy Tenor? How much money did I just make? Someone call Nerdy Tenor. Get Mr. Nerdy on the phone. How much is this team worth? This team is a shipper. I think he won't go to the Panthers. He won't go to the Titans. He won't go to the Patriots. He won't go to the Jets. Jaguars, he's a first-round pick. I guess New Orleans or Vegas, he would not be a first-round pick. Browns, he would be a first-round pick, assuming, because if they took him, I think that would mean Chubb is not on the team. Giants, I suppose it could be. Yes, he is. This is true. He was born there, and he moved to Texas. Then he actually played. This is true. Ashton Jeanty played high school football in Italy. That's why he ended up at Boise State. It's a very funny story. Not very funny. It's kind of a weird story, but damn, Davis, you got to land this plane, brother. You cannot fuck this one up. All right. I am going to select on this team Devin A-Chain with Derrick Henry. The A-Chain and Henry drafters, they do not see eye to eye. Oh, he'd for sure be a first round pick on Denver. For sure a first round pick on Denver. Obviously a first round pick on the Cowboys. Bengals first round pick. Tampa Bay probably. Seattle, they wouldn't take him. Get your Windhorse hat on. The San Francisco 49ers. Christian McCaffrey retires with the ankle injury. They don't have to pay Brock Purdy yet. Shanahan's sick of Isaac Urendo and Jordan Mason. The San Francisco 49ers, with the 23rd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, select Ashton Jeanty, running back, Boise State University. Can you picture it? Can you imagine it? I can imagine it. If there's a team, think about the really good teams. Think about all the really good teams in the NFL. Most of them are just way too sharp. They would just not take a running back. Wow, and I was going to take Cooper Kupp with the last pick anyways. I'm taking Cooper Kupp with this pick. The Cooper Kupp hate, is too far, obviously. Like Cooper Kupp should not be a 4th round pick. Zach, Mr. Lanners, we got to clip that. That's a short. That's a short, brother. We got to intersperse it with some GT hype. It's consigliere. It's not my announcement to make, but basically, the Swolecast is entering into a new era. A new era. The Swolecast, I believe, will no longer be a Roto Grinders affiliated program. So no Swolecast today. I think we will be back next week. But the Swolecast is now fully the property of Soccer Dave. But not my announcement to make. So make sure it'll never be that. That will never be the new era of the Swolecast. That will never happen. Okay. I know what I'm about to do. And you guys are all gonna hate it. No one will ever hate more what I'm about to do than you guys. But I think this is a super sneaky way to approach the week. We might have seen Tuttle's. It's true. We might have. No, it's not going to be a Jacksonville stack. It's going to be worse. You guys are really going to hate it. Kyle Pitts, and then hope that the London drafter does not stipe Kirk Cousins from me. No, come on. You think I'm clicking Dalton Kincaid on stream? Liam could see this. I'm not clicking Dalton Kincaid when you guys can see it. If I'm clicking Dalton Kincaid, I'm clicking it in the safety of my own home. RBs, yeah. Mike Clay tweeted this morning. 21 running backs are averaging 13 or more half PPR points, and only 11 wide receivers. Yeah, Tillman is a smash. I mean, I prefer Jaden Reed to him, but I got no issue with clicking Tillman in 6-mans this week. Tillman, I think is a pretty good selection in all kinds of contests. All right. Kirk Cousins, welcome to the team. We love to see it. Yeah, Jefferson, running back. I am in the safety of my home right now. Mike, I'm always in the safety of my home. Yeah, Jordan Love. I mean, obviously, if Jordan Love does not play, then the Jaden Reed stuff is going to be really bad. But think about how unique Cousins and Pitts is going to be. Super. Cousins, Pitts, CeeDee. That's going to be super unique. Very, very few combinations of that are going to exist. And I feel pretty good about having it. I've gone back and forth on Kyle Pitts a billion times in my life, and I will probably continue to do so. But I do believe right now. You make me answer right now. Do I believe in the Kyle Pitts experience? Honestly, I am. I am a believer in the Kyle Pitts experience. Game stacks I like. Dallas, Atlanta, number 1. Buffalo, Miami, number 2. Philadelphia, Jacksonville, number 3. But again, I don't think game stacks in this DFS I just don't. You just are kind of giving up too many points, because what you need is the perfect lineup. You really do just need the perfect lineup. Like this guy last week, no bring back, right? He didn't have Chase in here. He took Amon-Ra, he took AJ Brown, he took Mixon, he took Gibbs. In fact, he took St. Brown and Gibbs together. It's kind of funny. Yeah, he took guys from opposing sides of the game. This guy taking Chase instead of AJ Brown cost him a bunch of money. Yeah, I did 0 3 wide receiver teams last week. I will probably do 0 3 wide receiver teams this week. The running back scrolls are just so good. And it's like that every single week. So if I get beat, I get beat. But it's just like, okay, compare guys at the same ADP. So compare Darnell Mooney to J.K. Dobbins. Like Dobbins projects like 4 points better. I mean, it's not even close. All right. Let's do Derrick Henry and let's do AJ Brown. Grown man team. Chris only plays the Wildcat. So the thing about the Wildcat, Chris, is people draft worse in that contest. Like actively, they do worse things. Yeah, unsurprising. But Stephon Diggs is out for the year. Wow. Joe Flacco playing. Anthony Richardson benched. Seems very short-sighted from the coaching staff to me. I certainly would not have done that. What are you getting? What do you win when you win? You win very little. Because what you have effectively done now is you have put your franchise in a point where you are going to lose a wild card playoff game on the road. Yeah, what do you win when you win? You win a wild card round loss. You get to play against the Dolphins, best case, but probably you're playing the Bills, Ravens, or Chiefs. I mean, yeah, we do win. Josh Downs and Michael Pittman Jr. Is Josh Downs going to be who you need in Best Ball Mania 5? Josh Downs might be who you need in Best Ball Mania 5. But there you go. Adam Schefter says a quarterback change for the Colts. Indianapolis is benching former first-round pick. By the way, that's such coded language. Former first-round pick. Anthony Richardson, and turning to veteran Joe Flacco, sources tell at Fowler, ESPN, and me. Coaches met this morning and made the seismic organizational decision to change quarterbacks. I mean, honestly, I do hate that. It feels insanely short-sighted. It is not what I would do. I don't. Because are you gonna bench him for the year? Is this like you're benching Anthony Richardson? Is this like Bryce Young, where like he's just like, guys, Anthony Richardson is a lot better than Bryce Young. He's a lot better than Zach Rosen, Josh Rosen. You know, he's much better than these guys. The coaches are, you know what, kind of sounds like to me that the coaches are, that Irsay is getting a little bit impatient, and that, you know, so I guess here's your fantasy ramifications. It's very good for Michael Pittman Jr. It's very good for Downs. Obviously, Anthony Richardson you can drop in any format now, but it feels very short-sighted to me for the Colts to just give up on the 4th overall pick. Yes. You got to get, I mean, he still has started less than 25 career games since high school, dude. 25 games since high school. What are we expecting? You know, I don't. Taysom is a good pick this week, Mr. GTO. All right, I'm gonna make these picks. Yeah, Sykin is safe. It could be Ballard more likely in the block. That's what Jacob said. We'll have, by the way, Thursday morning on the channel when Jacob comes on, when we do the Jacob video, I'm positive that Jacob will have some thoughts. I don't think this had anything to do with it. I don't think him being tired on a third. I gotta be honest. Damn, Morgan owned me here, taking Jalen Hurts with Saquon. All right. So here are my options. I can take. Let's take DJ Moore. Unpopular opinion. Still believe in DJ Moore. And I'm going to take Jameis again. I am going to take Jameis again. All right. Well, the cat is out of the bag now. Soccer Dave, today is a day of reflection. What an incredible run I had with the FI and RG guys over the past 10 years. Incredible people and a chapter I'll always cherish. So proud of what we accomplished. Navigated major hurdles as a company, always did less with more, and constantly came up with ways to create and increase revenue. I noticed that Soccer Dave didn't thank me here. Kitchen says lots of stuff to do and create in the coming days. Unemployment is for the birds, but for today, I'm just grateful. So there you go, guys. That is why this Swolecast did not happen. There's a big restructuring over at RotoGrinders. Soccer Dave was a part of that. It is what it is, but I believe the Swolecast will be back and will persevere because Soccer Dave is now the owner of it. Yeah, I mean, look, this would have been a great slate to draft the Colts. What slate are the Colts on? I guess they're on the there's not a primetime Palooza slate. There's no primetime Palooza slate. Yeah, Dave does need to get back on YouTube immediately. Stephon Diggs out for the year. Anthony Richardson out for the year. Well, I would rather do NBA than PTPs as well. Hey, I think Steele is going to win that bet. Don't you think? Breaking news here on the program. Well, you know what? We're here. We're ripping another. As long as my puppy is still quiet upstairs. There is no PTP. Probably not. I mean, Diggs doesn't get any targets. No, I mean, I'm not saying that. It's just the optics of the whole thing. I mean, signing Flacco to begin with, so it's like a totally different offense when Flacco is in versus Richardson. I don't know. I gotta say I'm not a fan of it in general. I'm not a fan. It does seem not great. I could definitely see Diontae Johnson getting traded to Houston. Where do we think Diontae Johnson gets traded? Saints, an option. Well, you probably win enough. Downs and MPJ are huge win. Oh yeah, Diontae to the Chargers could be really good. Texans is the number one spot that makes sense, probably. I don't know. I guess Dallas could. Does Dallas even think that they can win? Yeah, I do love how the NFL trades now. Where does Diontae Johnson get traded? I think if I had to set the market, I would go Texans. Texans would be number one. Texans would be the most likely for me. That's a good question. If you drafted AR in the Primetime Palooza, are you screwed? Or I think you're screwed unless they list him as the emergency third quarterback. That's the only way. Because he has to be out. But if he's active as the backup, you don't get a swap, I believe. Mike Williams has no juice left. Mike Williams is a negative juice player. Mike Williams got 0 targets for the Jets. I don't believe this is 100% true. Sean, I don't think you are 100% right. I think it depends. Yeah. He has to be. He's. Oh no. What did Sammy say? What did Sammy say to Soccer Dave? Probably something rude. Oh, it's true. Yeah, I do owe him everything. I don't know. I don't think so. Tyreek Hill and AJ Brown. That's a GAM squad. I don't think he can be. I think there's some rule about not being able to be traded back to where you signed from. I don't know if the Buccaneers wide receivers looked pretty good. Yeah, $6,700 on DraftKings for A-Chain still seems far too low to me. That's very true. Wow. Yeah, Downs is like a top 15 wide receiver for the rest of the season, maybe. Don't you think? I mean, it's really crazy. I don't even have Diontae Johnson on like any team. All right. I think that Lamar is the quarterback one. I probably won't have any Josh Allen. But you have to remember, Peter, I'm not a reliable narrator. I'm lower on the Bills than everyone pretty much. Fuck it, we ball. I'm taking Jalen Hurts. I actually don't have any of that combo yet. I don't think so. Well, if you enter whatever contest you enter, you can check the leaderboard of Cam Akers went back to the Vikings. Yeah, but he did get traded. Yeah, so I guess it is possible. Not that I mean, don't listen to me about NFL rules. I'll tell you who the Buffalo Bills play is. James Cook, man. This motherfucker is cooking. 26.8 points with 2 touchdowns last week. The guy is awesome. Yeah, Best Ball Explorer is also really good. You can upload your DraftKings CSVs there too, I believe. Yeah, and ETR owns it now as well. All right, what's the right way? Is Evan Engram? I don't know if I want Engram on these teams. You kind of just prefer the Eagles to play downhill when you have Hurts on. Tough scenes. I can't believe the Swolecast is not affiliated with RG anymore. Don't ask me, Miles. Don't ask. You were asking the wrong I didn't know how to inspect Element. Yeah, there is an explainer video for it, but don't ask me. But yeah, check out Best Ball Explorer. It's a cool tool. All right, well, it'll be pretty easy to close this one out, and then we will do the skeleton keys for the week. I wonder if I'm gonna check my I wonder if I'm still employed at Roto Grinders, or are they done with me? It'll be hard to say. Oh, someone took TP. They didn't want me to live. All right, Evan Engram, come on down. Just anecdotally, by the way, Trey McBride looks like he is going to fall a lot in ADP as we've been doing these. Wonder if Nick Chubb might be an okay click this week. 3 BBM teams that drafted Flacco and Winston together, and one is advancing. Stay rich. All right. You know what? I'm really going off the rails here, boys. Not even, actually. Dalton back this week. Chuba Hubbard against the Saints. This will be a very unique team that I've got here. Just tuning in. What happened with the Swolecast? Soccer Dave and others. Certainly, Soccer Dave was not the only one. Got let go from Roto Grinders. They had a very bad month, very bad quarter. The parent company of Roto Grinders, and there's a huge corporate restructuring. So no Swolecast this week. And I believe it has been turned back over to Mr. Soccer Dave himself. He is now the sole proprietor. All right. Got to do it. The skeleton keys for week 9 Battle Royale. Pretty simple stuff here, boys. In the Sunday main slate, the skeleton keys at quarterback. I mean, there aren't really any. I think it is probably Jalen Hurts against Jacksonville yet again. And I think that Jameis Winston is way underdrafted. I think that Jalen Hurts and Jameis Winston are clearly the clicks that you want to have right now. I think that at running back, again, very simple. We have Kyren Williams, Devin Achane, and Tony Pollard. Kyren is being underdrafted. Devin Achane is being way underdrafted, averaging 23.06 half-point PPR points per game. And Tony Pollard, again, I mean, Tony Pollard is going to end up being like the running back 8 or whatever. At wide receiver, it is a little bit more tricky. I think Puka is pretty clearly our number 1. I think that we've got Jayden Reed and Cedric Tillman as great examples. Now, Jayden Reed, we've got multiple things going on. He's a little bit dinged up, and Jordan Love is banged up. But if Jordan Love plays this week, I think you're going to want to have quite a bit of Jayden Reed. And then at tight end, it gets even easier. We've got Evan Engram, and we have got Mark Andrews or Isaiah Likely. I'm pretty good on those guys. But really, I'm actually just going to call it Evan Engram. Jalen Hurts, Jameis Winston, Kyren Williams, Devin Achane, Tony Pollard, Puka Nacua, Jayden Reed, Cedric Tillman, and Evan Engram. Those are the early skeleton key plays as we are drafting on Tuesday and Wednesday before projections over at ETR and elsewhere come out. I mean, let's be honest, ETR, they kind of run the world when it comes to these games on Underdog. Everyone, thank you very much for watching. Please consider becoming a member of the channel. You guys can hang out in the Discord. You can sign up at patreon.com/DavisMattic for more premium fantasy football content. That would really help me out. I would greatly appreciate that. And leave a comment below. Tell me your skeleton keys. So who are your skeleton keys to win in Battle Royale this week? Let's ship it. Let's find some winners, boys. It's Short King Summer, dude. It just feels like no one in fantasy sports ever learns anything. Does he mistime it, or is Brock Bowers just a grown man? Brock Bowers is just a grown man. Dare I say, Rich, football might be back. In the words of Lane Johnson, this offense looks constipated. It's Short Kings.